Two homes, two front doors. One radiates calm the moment you step through. There's a soft light, the quiet presence of plants, a subtle feeling of expansion. The other, it looks clean enough, even stylish, but something in your chest tightens. A heaviness lingers before you even cross the threshold. You can't quite explain why, but your body knows something in this space is resisting you. In Feng Shui, the front door is never just a door. It is your home's handshake to the universe. It's where energy arrives, where first impressions are silently shaped, and where your fortune either begins to gather or starts to scatter. And yet, most people pay more attention to their doormat than to what their door is actually facing. What greets your chi when you enter? Is it being invited in or subtly pushed back? You don't need a full renovation to shift the energy, but you do need to understand what's quietly distorting it. In today's episode, we'll explore 3 specific things that should never face your front door, and why these misalignments quietly drain prosperity, focus, and emotional calm from the very space you call home. You'll also see how the most balanced and prosperous households, many of which belong to people with no interest in superstition, intentionally fix these mistakes, not with mysticism, but with clarity and spatial intelligence. Because the most powerful changes often begin with what you walk past every single day. And before we dive deeper, if this type of grounded insight resonates with you, I gently invite you to like this video, share it with someone building a more energetically supportive space, and subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're on the path to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. Every click helps this channel grow, and more importantly, it helps this knowledge reach those who need it. Now, take a moment to imagine your own front door. Think of what sits directly across from it. A chair, a screen, a hallway of shadows. Because that first-facing element is not just decor, it's a directional signal. It sets the tone for every visitor, for every emotion that enters, and for every dollar that tries to find its way to you. We'll start with the most overlooked block of all, something that almost every modern home has, and almost every traditional Feng Shui master avoids: the garage. Then we'll explore 2 deceptively simple placements, a chair and a workspace, that may be costing you more than you realize. And more importantly, we'll show you how to shift each of these without tearing down walls or redesigning your entire floor plan. What you'll discover in the next few minutes isn't about luck. It's about alignment. It's about recognizing that your front door is a boundary and an invitation. What you place in its path reflects how you meet the world and how you let the world meet you. Because wealth is never just about income. It's about flow, and your front door is where that flow begins. Ready? Let's step inside. 1. The front door facing a garage. In classical Feng Shui, the front door is known as the mouth of Qi, the gateway where life force enters to nourish the home. It's not symbolic, it's structural, behavioral, and energetic. Everything that sits directly in front of your main entrance has the power to either amplify your momentum or siphon it off. And when your front door faces a garage, you are doing the latter. Whether you believe in energy or not, at first glance, it doesn't seem like a problem. Garages are common, functional, neutral, but that's exactly where the danger lies, in the illusion of neutrality. Feng Shui, when understood beyond decoration and into energetic anatomy, teaches us that the garage is one of the coldest, most yin-heavy zones in the modern home. It is a place that holds unmoving metal, idle machines, and often forgotten items. Things that do not breathe, circulate, or emit life force. And yin energy, while necessary and balanced, when over-concentrated, becomes stagnation. It becomes emotional heaviness. It becomes slow digestion, slow decision-making, and slow progress. When a front door opens and stares directly into a garage, especially one that is always closed, dimly lit, or cluttered, it creates a direct current of dead energy flowing inward. What should be a pull of vitality becomes a suction for fatigue. And this doesn't stay conceptual. You feel it. Clients often describe it as subtle tiredness that doesn't make sense, or a fog that hangs around even when they sleep well. Others talk about feeling unmotivated or creatively stuck even in the most well-decorated spaces. The money might be coming in, but it slips through cracks. Projects start with excitement and fizzle without explanation. Partners grow distant. Children become restless. And no one ties it back to the alignment between door and garage. Energetically, the garage isn't just a cold space, it's a vacuum. The yang energy you're trying to cultivate by lighting candles, adding plants, or choosing the right paint is being siphoned before it even enters. You're inviting in stillness where you need motion. You're leading energy into an echo chamber when you need it to flow forward. One of the most profound examples of this came from a consultation with a young tech entrepreneur in Singapore. His townhouse was beautifully renovated, filled with natural light, minimalist design, and all the right Feng Shui objects. But he kept describing a sense of stagnation. His team was unmotivated. His product launches kept getting delayed. He personally felt energetically heavy each time he came home. When I arrived, the issue was instantly clear. His front door opened directly into a line of sight with a metallic double-door garage that was always shut tight. The solution wasn't to redesign the architecture, it was to alter the flow. We began by installing motion sensor lighting directly outside the garage doors. Suddenly, the space shifted. Light, a fire element in Feng Shui, counterbalances the dense yin quality of metal and darkness. It doesn't just brighten, it activates. Next, we introduced 2 ceramic planters along the edge of the energy corridor between the garage and the front door, filled with lively, upward-growing foliage. Plants are a wood element, and wood breaks up stagnant metal. We also applied frosted film to the garage's internal windows, not to block visibility entirely, but to soften the straight-line energy, another key principle in energy redirection. Within weeks, he messaged to say he felt clear again. And coincidentally, or not, he closed 2 funding rounds in the same month. The remedy for this layout problem isn't necessarily expensive or invasive. In fact, one of the most effective adjustments is symbolic. In Feng Shui, symbolism is energy. A large, healthy plant placed between the door and garage line works not because it's a plant, but because it's alive. It says, life grows here, nothing is frozen. Similarly, installing a warm light that turns on automatically at night acts as a signal, not just to the universe, but to your own nervous system, that this space is watched, cared for, and energetically responsive. For even deeper alignment, consider the directional aspect. If your home faces west or northwest, which is already tied to metal energy in the 5-element cycle, the garage's placement is amplified. This setup becomes especially draining for fire or wood personalities who naturally thrive on motion, growth, and vision. You may notice these individuals start to second-guess decisions, lose creative confidence, or procrastinate despite a clear calendar. They're not lazy, they're energetically misaligned. What makes this mistake so insidious is that most people don't see it. It hides in plain sight, buried under convenience and architectural norms. That's why Feng Shui isn't just about furniture or crystals. It's about learning to see what energy is doing beneath the surface. To recap, if your front door opens directly toward a garage, especially one that is dim, unused, or metal heavy, here's what you can do today. 1. Install a motion sensor light outside the garage door. Let the light be your yang signal, a declaration of activity, warmth, and movement. Choose a bulb that emits warm white, not cold fluorescent, and make sure it activates only with movement, not all day. This turns passive space into engaged space. 2. Place a tall, grounded ceramic planter or urn filled with upward-growing plants like snake plant, lucky bamboo, or even a tall palm to act as an energy anchor and filter. In Buddhist-aligned energy studies, the symbolism of upward motion is associated with aspiration and dharmic growth. This isn't decoration, it's intention in physical form. 3. Add visual softness between the 2 points. This could be a patterned floor mat, a subtle standing screen, or a wooden sculpture. Energy, like water, slows when it curves. You're not trying to stop the energy, you're trying to guide it like a river around a bend. 4. Clean and refresh the garage itself. Dust, rust, old paint cans, forgotten tools. These carry the vibration of neglect. And neglect is one of the fastest ways to attract scarcity. Even if the garage is not used daily, keep it tidy. Sweep, let in air, paint the inside walls a light color. You are restoring life force to a forgotten limb of your home. Lastly, remember that Feng Shui is not about fear. It's about response. You're not doomed if your door faces your garage, but you are responsible for how you respond. Wealthy people, energetically and financially, respond with intention. They sense where energy is blocked and they move to unblock it, not with superstition, but with clarity. So walk outside your home tonight, stand in front of your door and turn around. Look at what faces you. Then ask, is this welcoming life or is it feeding stillness? Your answer may explain more than you think. 2. Facing the back of a chair or a TV screen. Every entrance tells a story before a single word is spoken. The moment your front door opens, your home begins a quiet conversation with the person stepping in. But when the first visual, a guest, or even your own energy encounters is the back of a chair, a TV screen, or a tall piece of furniture with no warmth, you've unconsciously initiated that conversation with a visual rejection. In Feng Shui, the entry point is referred to as the mouth of Qi. It's where energy breathes in. This is not metaphor, it's architectural psychology. The Qi, life force that enters your home, behaves much like a guest arriving for dinner. It reads the room quickly, and it either stays or subtly steps back. When the first thing it sees is the flat black of the screen or the hard spine of a chair turned away, the message is clear. This space is closed. There's no invitation here. Energetically, this creates a sharp drop in the welcome frequency of your home. A chair back, especially if tall or dark colored, acts like a symbolic boundary wall. It says you're on the outside. A TV screen, dark, lifeless, and reflective, introduces a mirror-like void that absorbs attention but reflects nothing back. It invites passivity, not connection. It holds visual weight, but not emotional substance. You may not consciously notice it, but you feel it. Ever wonder why some homes, even beautifully designed ones, feel cold or distant the moment you walk in? It's often not the furniture or the color, it's the first object facing the door. In homes where this visual block exists, common symptoms include guests who hesitate at the door, children or partners who don't linger in shared spaces, or a general feeling of disconnect even when everyone's physically present. Psychologically, this setup impacts the residents as much as the visitors. Over time, entering your own home and repeatedly facing the back of a chair begins to program the subconscious with messages of resistance, disinterest, or fatigue. It becomes harder to decompress. You may walk in and feel the urge to go straight to your room, skip conversation, or leave again quickly without knowing why. This is not just aesthetic misalignment, it's emotional miscommunication between you and your space. To ground this in real-world relevance, consider the perspective of designer Nate Berkus, who once said, A room should greet you with a hand, not a wall. This echoes a deeper truth. Spaces, like people, emit social cues. When your living area turns its back to the entrance, it's like showing up to a party and being met with crossed arms. You don't feel seen. You don't feel welcome. And over time, neither does your energy. In contrast, Feng Shui favors what we call visual embrace. That means the first view should open like a smile, something soft, intentional, and slightly curved. This doesn't require expensive design. Even the smallest rental space can achieve this with subtle, symbolic cues. Here's how to transform a blocking setup into a receptive, energetic invitation. 1. Reorient seating slightly toward the entry, not directly, but enough to acknowledge the doorway. This can be as simple as shifting a chair 3 inches or angling a side table with intention. 2. Add symbolic softness. Place a small round-leaved plant, like a pilea or jade plant, on a console near the chair. Round leaves carry wood energy in a nurturing upward motion, helping to reintroduce flow. 3. Patterned cushions on the back of chairs add visual warmth and signal. Return energy. A floral or spiral pattern in red, gold, or soft green reinforces welcoming tones. 4. Layer the entry zone with ambient light. A standing floor lamp with warm tone bulbs placed near the door dissolves shadows and creates a luminous path that softens sharp lines. 5. If the back of a TV screen is visible from the door, conceal it with a panel of soft fabric, a thin folding screen, or mount a light decorative scroll or frame text aid behind it. Even a canvas with calming art or personal values written in brushstroke form can neutralize the void. One real-life application of this approach came from a professional couple I worked with in the San Francisco Bay Area. Their modern condo was gorgeously styled, art gallery walls, custom Italian furniture, but the energy felt flat. Their front door opened to a black sofa's back and a 65-inch mounted TV. Within 5 minutes of our session, the wife admitted she often stayed late at work and dreaded coming home. The husband felt the living room wasn't warm, even though everything was high-end. We made 3 simple changes: rotated the couch 10 degrees, placed a soft round ottoman near the door with a small candle bowl, and added a tall rubber plant with broad leaves to the left of the entrance. They reported that within a week, guests lingered longer, arguments decreased, and their shared meals at home felt easier. The takeaway here is profound and empowering. Good chai doesn't require expensive renovations. It asks for awareness, symbolism, and intention. So the next time you walk through your own front door, pause for 3 seconds. What's greeting you? A soft embrace or a silent barrier? Is your home energetically saying, "Come in, you belong here," or "Not now"? Adjusting your entrance orientation is not about decoration. It's about declaration. You're telling your life and your luck how to treat you. So treat yourself with intention. 3. Front door facing the home office. Among the most underestimated layout mistakes in modern homes, especially in the work-from-home era, is this. You open your front door, and the very first thing you see is your home office. On paper, this might seem efficient. Why not position your workspace up front? But energetically, this is one of the most draining placements for long-term prosperity. Let's take a step back and reframe your front door, not as an architectural feature, but as your home's handshake. It's how your personal space introduces itself to every form of energy, your own, your guests, and life's greater currents of opportunity, nourishment, and growth. When your front door opens directly into a space filled with screens, files, to-do lists, and mental pressure, your home essentially says, work begins now. There is no arrival, no exhale, no emotional landing. You're greeted not by presence, but by performance. In traditional Feng Shui, this is called an energy clash between rest qi and labor qi. The front entrance is meant to be welcoming, nourishing, and expansive. The home office, on the other hand, is inherently contracted. It holds the vibration of deadlines, logic, responsibility, and often stress. When these energies meet at the threshold, they cancel each other out. You may feel constantly on edge, unable to relax, or emotionally restless without knowing why. Here's a pattern I've observed in more than 200 client homes over the years. When the home office is the first space visible from the front door, the homeowner often struggles with one of two things. Either one, a constant low-grade anxiety that feels like background noise, or two, chronic guilt about never doing enough, even while relaxing. It's a subtle psychological loop created by the home's energetic script. One client I worked with in Melbourne, a corporate trainer working remotely full-time, had a pristine minimalist house, but her front door opened directly into her office desk, visible before anything else. She confessed to sleeping poorly, often replaying presentations in her head. Her children, she said, rarely entered the living room. It felt cold. Once we added a tall shelf unit with grounding objects between the door and the office space, along with a natural fiber rug and soft lighting, the difference was visible. She reported feeling less reactive, more emotionally available, and strangely, more productive with less effort. The principle is echoed in the way highly disciplined manage their space. Consider Elon Musk's living situation during his time in Boca Chica. Despite being one of the most driven and intellectually charged figures of our time, his personal residence, a minimalist prefab home near the SpaceX launch site, was not organized around work. The entrance did not lead to a screen, a workstation, or a pile of decisions. It opened toward a simple courtyard, an intentional buffer that allowed the body and mind to transition. Even a man consumed by mission knew the importance of protecting entry space from work-related energy. This separation is not a luxury, it's a design necessity if you want your home to regenerate your energy instead of extracting it. So how can you soften the energy clash if your front door does face your workspace? The goal isn't to tear down walls, it's to interrupt the energetic line. Here are 3 Feng Shui-based remedies you can implement immediately. 1. Introduce a symbolic mountain. In Feng Shui, a mountain is more than topography. It represents stable backing, protection, and emotional grounding. You can simulate this energetically by placing a tall ceramic object, wooden sculpture, or stone-based artwork between the door and the line of sight to the office. Choose something that feels solid, non-reflective, and slightly taller than a seated eye level. This mountain doesn't block access. It simply buffers intensity. It tells incoming energy, pause before proceeding. 2. Use scent as a transition cue. The nose is the fastest pathway to the limbic brain, the seat of memory, emotion, and instinct. Place a small diffuser or incense bowl with grounding scents near the front door. Sandalwood, frankincense, or vetiver are excellent for calming the nervous system and shifting you from doing mode into being mode. This way, even if your eyes land on a workspace, your body receives a cue to stay centered. 3. Anchor with earth tones. If the layout is tight and you cannot visually interrupt the flow, use color and texture. An earth tone rug, think ochre, deep beige, or muted olive, just inside the doorway helps stabilize the first energetic impression. These colors ground yang, active energy, and support decision-making rooted in calmness rather than compulsion. 4. Add a qi tray. Place a low tray on a small table near the door with a few intentional objects. A stone, a natural candle, perhaps a small handwritten affirmation. This signals to both visitors and your own mind that this is a space of entry, not immediate action. These may seem like aesthetic choices, But in energy terms, they are declarations. You are reclaiming your front door as a place of arrival, not activation. Remember, when your home office greets your front door, you never fully arrive home. Your attention is hijacked before your body has even crossed the threshold. Your prosperity cannot fully land in a space that only makes room for productivity. It needs space for presence. So tonight, stand by your door. Open it slowly. What do you see? More importantly, what do you feel? Does your entrance invite you in or pull you forward? That first impression doesn't just affect how others see your home, it shapes how your energy behaves the moment you step inside. The energetic weight of a neglected front door. There's an old truth in both Feng Shui and Taoist spatial philosophy. The condition of your front door is the condition of your invitation to life. In energy language, your front door isn't simply a piece of wood and metal. It's the mouth of your home's chai, the threshold through which opportunity, clarity, wealth, and connection flow inward. But here's the hidden risk. Many people treat their front door as an afterthought. It's just where packages are dropped, shoes are kicked off, or dust quietly accumulates. The paint peels, the doormat frays, the light bulb flickers, or worse, has gone out completely. The entry becomes forgettable, shadowed, and sometimes outright unwelcoming. And the result? Life stops knocking. From a metaphysical standpoint, a neglected front door whispers a message to the world that you're unavailable, not on purpose, but through energetic posture. And energy is literal. If the most public, accessible portal of your home is ignored, it subtly says to the field around you, please skip this house. I've worked with clients whose homes were magazine beautiful inside, but who couldn't figure out why things felt stuck. Finances stalled, inspiration dulled, new relationships failed to arrive. In nearly every case, the front door told the real story. One woman, a wellness entrepreneur living in Los Angeles, had a perfectly styled living room, but an almost unlit front porch. Dead plants sat on either side of the entry. Her doorbell didn't work, and the mat had a quote that said, "Go away," in faded gray letters, meant to be cheeky, but energetically tragic. When we realigned just that one element, swapping out the mat, trimming the plants, repainting the trim, and adding 2 solar lanterns, she reported more bookings within the month than she had in the previous quarter. She joked, "It's like the universe finally found my house again." So what exactly does a wealth-ready front door look and feel like? It's not about luxury, it's about alignment. It should feel clean, intentional, well-lit, and cared for. When you or a visitor walks toward it, there should be a quiet sense of yes in the body, an unconscious openness. That's how Qi knows it's safe to enter. Let's walk through 3 key areas that determine whether your door is inviting opportunity or subtly deflecting it. 1. Cleanliness and visual care. This is basic but critical. Just like we brush our teeth to stay energetically clear, your door needs weekly attention. Wipe away dust, cobwebs, and water stains. Repaint chipped wood. Oil the hinges. A squeaky door doesn't just irritate the ears, it disturbs the harmony of your home's arrival point. If your doormat is worn, replace it with one in deep earth tones or a rich red, both symbols of grounded abundance. And while symmetry isn't required, it often enhances energetic flow. 2 small potted plants on either side of the door, real, never fake, act like silent guardians. Choose leafy greens over spiky or thorny plants. In Feng Shui, sharp leaves near the entrance can create confrontational qi and interfere with relationships or collaboration. 2. Lighting as qi amplifier. Light is one of the fastest ways to transform a space without altering structure. And at the front door, it functions like a spotlight for your fortune. Dark entrances signify hidden potential, unseen, unacknowledged. and therefore unfulfilled. Soft, warm-toned lighting, on the other hand, signals that the home is ready to receive. Gold, amber, or copper bulbs are ideal, and lighting should be positioned at or above waist height, not on the floor. If possible, install 2 light sources flanking the door. This creates yin-yang balance and allows the energy to harmonize before crossing the threshold. If only 1 light fixture is possible, prioritize placing it on the right side when facing outward from inside the home. In classical Feng Shui, this is known as the green dragon side, associated with benevolent growth, external success, and forward movement. It balances the white tiger side, left, which governs internal life and contemplation. Lighting the right side gives a subtle nudge toward expansion and external opportunity. 3. Scent, sound, and symbol. These are optional, but for those who want to go deeper into alignment, consider adding sensory cues to your entry. A small wind chime, if placed respectfully and at the correct height, can soften harsh corners and attract Sheng Qi, life-affirming energy. Choose chimes with soft tones, ideally tuned to harmonic frequencies, and avoid high-pitched or overly metallic sounds near sleep hours. As for scent, a bowl of dried herbs or a natural diffuser placed just inside the door, not outside, can help shift energy upon entry. Scents like sweet orange, basil, rosemary, or clove stimulate clarity and uplift mood, subtly reminding the nervous system to open, not retreat. Finally, consider what symbolic message your door is sending visually. Is there a welcome sign, a number plate, a carved emblem, or a hanging decoration? Does it say you belong here, or does it say no one's home? In Vietnamese tradition, placing a red ornament or scroll near the entrance, especially during festive seasons, is a powerful invitation for fortune to visit. The same principle applies year-round when done with sincerity and care. Final reflection. Your front door is more than an entrance. It's a boundary between your inner and outer world. It tells the story of your readiness emotionally, financially, and energetically. A neglected door says, "Not now." A glowing, intentional door says, "I'm home and I'm open." So tonight, walk to your front door from outside. Don't just look, feel. How does it greet you? What does it whisper to the next opportunity trying to find its way in? Let that whisper become a welcome. Optional elemental color insight. Color isn't just decoration, it's calibration. Just as a musician tunes an instrument before a performance, we can tune the frequency of our homes through the strategic use of color. And nowhere is this more effective than at the front door. In both classical Feng Shui and modern energetic design theory, the color of your front door plays a vital role in shaping what kind of energy crosses the threshold. It's the first signal to the outside world, not just of your style, but of your vibration. When chosen intentionally, it can act as a frequency amplifier, quietly aligning your home with your personal strengths and goals. When chosen randomly or purely by trend, it may subtly interfere with the very flow you're trying to cultivate. Let's ground this insight with elemental specificity. Each of the 5 core elements in Feng Shui, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, not only governs a type of energy, but also resonates with particular colors. These colors aren't chosen for aesthetic effect. They're based on centuries of observation around how different frequencies influence emotional tone, decision-making, and flow. If your personal element is wood, associated with growth, vitality, and creative expansion, your optimal door color is green or black. Green reflects the natural world's upward, blossoming force, while black connects you to the water element, which nourishes wood and stimulates resilience. Together, they form a cycle of potential and perseverance. A green or black door for a wood-aligned individual isn't just beautiful. It's like standing in your own forest of power. For those whose element is fire, the colors to amplify that energy are red and deep orange. Fire governs visibility, leadership, passion, and ambition. A red door blazes with authority. It commands attention and opens portals to fame, recognition, and bold movement. That's why red doors are so common in the homes of public figures, business owners, and high achievers across cultures. It's not luck, it's signaling. If your element is metal, lean toward white, gray, or even soft metallics like brushed silver. Metal energy is structured, refined, and detail-driven. It's the realm of clarity, precision, and completion. A white door brings lightness and purity to your entrance, while gray evokes strength without aggression. For people in professions requiring focus, law, finance, architecture, metal-aligned spars help sharpen your energetic boundary and support strategic momentum. Those aligned with earth, steady, nurturing, practical energy are best supported by yellows, terracotta tones, or even sandy beige. Earth represents stability, support, and integration. A yellow or ochre tone door projects warmth, maturity, and emotional grounding. It signals that the home inside is a place of nourishment, belonging, and safety. In traditional Asian households, yellow was once reserved for emperors, not because of power alone, but because it radiated stability and completeness. Finally, for those governed by water, introspective, intuitive, fluid, opt for navy, deep blue, or indigo. Water rules wisdom, depth, and adaptability. A blue door draws in calm, reflective energy and invites soulful visitors, aligned opportunities, and peace. In ancient China, blue gates were often placed at meditation or study halls, spaces where clarity and insight were prized more than noise or display. So how do you find your personal element? Traditionally, it's based on your birth year and its corresponding heavenly stem in the Chinese calendar. But if you're unsure or want a shortcut, reflect on your natural tendencies. Are you most at ease when leading? That's fire. When planning? That's metal. When creating? Wood. When supporting? Earth. When feeling and reflecting? Water. Of course, while aligning your door color to your personal element is powerful, you can also choose based on your home's directional orientation. For example, a front door facing east aligns with wood, so painting it green supports natural sunrise energy. South facing? That's fire, perfect for a red statement. West leans toward metal, making white or gray ideal. North belongs to water, so a navy door helps encourage inward focus and deeper flow. And if your door faces northeast or southwest, both earth zones, then terracotta or warm yellow tones will amplify harmony. One word of caution, don't layer too many elemental signals at once. A home that mixes red, black, silver, and green on its facade might look bold, but energetically it becomes confused. Less is more. One consistent message allows chi to flow more smoothly. And if you already have a fixed door color and cannot repaint, use accents like a doormat, lantern, or nearby a plant pot in your element's color to shift the energetic message subtly but effectively. The deeper teaching here is this. Color is not just taste, it's tuning. When you bring your entrance into harmony with your elemental nature, you reduce friction, enhance clarity, and support your life's path without force. Every time you walk through your door, you're stepping into your own frequency field. Make sure it's one that says yes to who you're becoming. Final, the door is not just wood, wood, metal, or paint. It's a messenger. Every time you walk through it, it whispers something to your mind, your body, your momentum. It says you're home or you're behind, you're safe or you're stuck. And it says this whether you're listening or not. That's why the smallest change at your threshold can unlock something bigger inside you. Because this isn't just Feng Shui, this is personal architecture. This is how space becomes story. You don't need to believe in Qi to recognize how heavy the world can feel when you come home to a door that's blocked, dim, neglected, or overwhelmed. And you don't need to paint your house red or hang crystals to realize that when your home feels like it's breathing, so do you. Energy doesn't ask for belief, it asks for permission. Your door grants that permission, or it denies it. So tonight, just before you go to sleep, walk to your entrance and stand still. Don't reach for your phone. Don't look for flaws. Just notice. What does your door say about the season you're in? Does it say welcome or wait? Does it hold a space for possibility or just packages and dust? Then ask yourself one quiet question. If someone brought opportunity to my door today, would it want to come in? And if this video helps shift the way you see that threshold, not just as a surface, but as a signal, I invite you to help this message reach another home that might need it. Share it with someone who's refining their space and reconnecting with their sense of welcome. Leave a comment below. What is the first thing your door reveals when it opens? And what might you shift this week to align your home with the life you're building? And if you haven't yet, I warmly invite you to subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're almost at our milestone of 2,000 subscribers, and your support helps us bring more grounded, quiet wisdom into more deserving spaces like yours. This isn't about superstition, it's about stewardship, because the energy you welcome or repel starts right where you stand.